If your establishment is in a table service environment, one area you'll need to take a look at is table setup. Within here, we have a number of selections pertaining to tables themselves. The first thing we have here is set up table sections. Within here, you define in terms of all the different dining sections that will reside within the establishment. Taking a look at what I have here, for example, I have bayside, courtyard, poolside, and terrace. Along with this, you assign each of these to a revenue center as well. If you're just working with the one revenue center, you can leave it as all revenue centers or just the default one of revenue center. Underneath this, we have three selections. The first one being enforce employee lockout. Now, if this is checked, that means that if a waiter opens up, let's say table number 5, for example, then no other waiters or waitresses will be able to access that table. They'll be locked out from accessing another server's table or check. The only exception to this would be a manager who would be able to override that level, or perhaps maybe a cashier, but this is all based on security levels. If this is unchecked, then basically it's an open forum. Anyone who selects on that table will be able to access it. Now, a little word of warning here. By selecting on the table and opening up that check, you are now assuming responsibility for that check as well. So you will be the server or the person responsible for that check and the person who owns that check. And the rule of thumb is that the person who owns the check is the person who is responsible for the cash and will get credit for the sale as well. So bear that in mind. Underneath that, we have enforce rated item before ordering. Now, what this will do is ensure that if, for example, the establishment requires rentals to take place, maybe like a bowling alley, for example, then this will make sure that you cannot order any items on a check in this dining section if there is not first a rated item on the check, being a rental of some nature. So in order to order food, you must be renting something at the time. Not necessarily at the time, but you must have a rented item on the check. The last one here is hide from floor layout. Now, this is more for situations where you don't want the name of the dining section to show up on the table layout screen for whatever reason. A common example of this would be, for example, an outdoor patio if it's in the middle of January. So if it's in the middle of winter, you would not be using that outdoor patio. You do not want to have that even interfering with any of the operation of the table service screen. So what you want to do then is go to that patio, you select on this, and then that will remove that title bar of that dining section. When spring comes and you open it up again, then you can uncheck that and it will be back on the screen.